Ever get that feeling there's maybe more going on than we're told?
Oh, absolutely.
Like the rule book we all kind of live by is missing some, well, pretty important stuff.
Yeah, like there's a hidden layer to things.
Exactly. That's sort of the vibe we got when we stumbled across this YouTube video. It was digging into Aleister Crowley and his Book of the Law. Pretty mind-bending stuff.
Right, and what grabs you immediately is that idea,
Yeah.
questioning the very basics we take for granted.
Totally.
It really tacks into that human thing, wanting to know what's really going on, to sort of peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, peek behind the curtain is a good way to put it. So for this deep dive, we're really focusing on the ideas from that video. Not everyone deserves to wake up from the Artificially Aware channel. And our mission today, really, for you listening, is to unpack the core ideas from this. Well, this very intriguing and, let's be honest, pretty controversial guy and his book.
Definitely controversial.
We want to pull out the key stuff, without getting lost in like a million details. Think of it as the shortcut to understanding this pretty wild story.
And it is a wild story. It starts with this incredibly strange origin.
Right.
Which immediately sets it apart from, your standard philosophy text or religious scripture.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We've got Edward Alexander Crowley, born 1875.
Right, Victorian England. Well-off family.
Yeah, but he later called himself Alistair, and apparently he really bristled against that whole strict religious thing he grew up with.
You can see why, perhaps.
And he becomes this, central figure behind Thelema. And the big claim, the really big one, is that the Book of the Law wasn't even his work.
Yeah, he insisted it was transmitted to him, dictated.
Over 3 days by some kind of higher dimensional being? Is that the idea?
That was his claim, yes.
Yeah.
By an entity. He basically felt he was just the scribe taking dictation from something beyond, normal reality.
Wow. Okay.
And that claim, as the video points out, gets wildly different reactions.
I bet.
For some people, it's this huge act of cosmic rebellion, tearing down old rules.
Right, defying the establishment.
But for others, it's just mad, or, the product of a really troubled mind.
Makes sense. And Crowley himself, he had that nickname, the Great Beast. He definitely wasn't trying to fly under the radar, was he? He seemed to almost enjoy poking the bear, challenging society.
He really did. He got involved in esoteric stuff, like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Okay.
Explored magic, or magic with a K.
Ah, right, the K. Why the K?
He used that to separate it from stage magic. Illusions. For him, it was about spiritual practice, real change.
Got it. So spiritual intent.
Exactly. And he was constantly trying to sort of rewrite the rules of morality. The more you look into him, the clearer it becomes. He had this talent for pushing buttons and, causing a stir.
Yeah, causing a stir feels like an understatement.
His whole life was just not normal. Yeah. Elaborate rituals, these crazy mountain climbing trips, weird parties.
He was testing limits.
Constantly testing limits, provoking people. And the absolute core of all this is that moment in Cairo, 1904. That's when the Book of the Law supposedly happened.
Right, Cairo. And his wife, Rose, she's key here.
Very key. The video mentions she kept saying the Egyptian god Horus was trying to get through.
Okay.
So over 3 days straight, April 8th, 9th, 10th, Crowley says this voice, an entity called Aiwass, dictated the whole book to him.
Just dictated it.
That's the story.
Yeah.
It's soaked in this really intense, almost feverish mysticism, which, the video host notes, does have a certain kind of pull.
It's definitely dramatic.
What's really interesting is how it's presented, not just as Crowley's thoughts, but as a direct message.
A transmission.
Exactly. Which, in his eyes, lifts the text way beyond just his personal philosophy.
And the book itself, it feels big, doesn't it? The video talks about the tone shifting.
It does.
From almost poetic bits to these really forceful, triumphant declarations.
Yeah, but the core idea stays the same. A new age, a new eon is starting.
A new eon. Like a whole new era for humanity.
Kind of, yeah. A big shift in consciousness with different rules, a different way of relating to, the divine or whatever you want to call it. It's a concept you find in other esoteric systems, too.
Okay. And structurally, it's in 3 chapters.
3 chapters, yeah. Each linked to a different deity, which sort of lays out the vibe of this new eon.
Right. Let's dig into those. Chapter 1 is Nuit.
Nuit, yeah. Goddess of the infinite night sky. The video describes her as this huge cosmic embrace holding everything.
Like all the stars?
Exactly. Suggesting every person is one of those stars. You know that famous line, every man and every woman is a star?
I've heard that one.
That really nails the idea, this inherent potential within everyone. So maybe think about that for a second. What if you really believed you had that potential without needing anyone else to tell you? How might that change things for you?
Interesting question.
The big shift here is moving away from those external, often judging father figure gods. Nuit is about boundless possibility, acceptance that's just there. It's about finding the divine inside you, not just looking for it out there.
So the night sky isn't just literal, it's a symbol.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Infinite potential, everything connected. A move away from seeing the divine as something limited or separate.
Okay, makes sense. Then chapter 2 brings in Hadit.
Hadit. The video paints Hadit as the opposite, almost. Like this tiny, dimensionless spark inside.
The inner spark.
Yeah, the core of consciousness, the essence of you. The video makes a really good point here. We're not just puppets being pushed around by fate.
We're the actors in our own story.
We're the burning heart of our own story, yeah.
Yeah.
It's urging you to look inward. Have you ever felt that, like a core driving thing inside yourself?
I think so, yeah, sometimes.
So if Nuit is the infinite space, Hadid is the super focused point right in the middle of it.
The individual will.
Your unique energy. And focusing inward is just absolutely central to Thelema. The power, the understanding, it's in you. Finding that inner divine kernel, as the video puts it.
Divine kernel. I like that. Okay, and then chapter 3.
Chapter 3 is Ra-Hoor-Khuit, which is a form of Horus, the Egyptian god.
Okay, Horus again?
Yeah. The video presents him as this really unapologetic force for the new age. Time for self-realization, time to throw off the old constraints, moral, religious, whatever.
Some more assertive.
Definitely more assertive. Maybe even unsettling for some people. But it really captures that revolutionary spirit. It's a challenging viewpoint for sure, and maybe one you're sort of wrestling with as you hear it.
Yeah, it sounds intense.
Ra-Hoor-Khuit is about action, power, tearing down the old stuff that doesn't work anymore.
It's the potential of Nuit, ignited by Hadit's inner spark.
Driving things forward into the new era. Exactly. The video's right. It can be uncomfortable. It's basically saying the old ways are done.
So the video connects these three Nuit, Hadit, Ra-Hoor-Khuits like this cosmic engine almost.
Yeah, like an interplay. Limitless potential, the individual spark firing up, and this unstoppable drive forward.
An engine for spiritual evolution.
That's a good way to think about it. It's a really compelling picture, isn't it?
It really is.
And getting a handle on those three figures, Nuit, Hadit, Ra-Hoor-Khuit, gives you a pretty solid base for understanding what the Book of the Law is driving at.
Which brings us naturally to maybe the most famous bit of Thelema and the most misunderstood. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Oh, yeah. Massively misunderstood.
The video nails this, right? People hear that and just think, oh, party time, do whatever I want.
It's a free-for-all, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the common take. But the video rightly stresses Crowley meant something way deeper and harder.
Harder? How so?
It's about finding and then doing your true will.
True will. Okay, what's that exactly?
It's like your fundamental purpose, the real reason you're here, deep down at your core. But the question is, how do you tell that apart from just, a passing fancy? What did Crowley actually suggest for figuring that out?
Good question. It's definitely not about just chasing every impulse or ignoring other people.
Not at all.
It's presented as this really demanding process, actually. You have to uncover your authentic drive.
Stripping away the layers.
Yeah. All the conditioning, what society expects, what your parents wanted, culture, all that noise to find what really truly motivates.
And discipline and self-honesty are crucial here. It's not passive. It's an active quest, and yeah, it can be tough.
A quest for self-discovery.
Exactly. And Crowley believed that only when you align with that true will do you actually find harmony with, with the cosmos.
So it sounds like total freedom, do what thou wilt.
Right.
But it's actually framed as needing intense self-discipline and awareness.
Which then leads to cosmic alignment, suppose. It's a really interesting paradox when you think about it.
It really is.
And the video then moves into, okay, how do you actually do this stuff? It's not just philosophy. Crowley laid out specific practices.
Right, rituals and things. Like the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. LBRP.
That's the one. The video explains it's basically for clearing out negative vibe, setting up a clean, sacred space to work in.
Like energetically tidying up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And then there are daily things, like the ritual of the liberal Helios praising the sun throughout the day.
Yeah.
And the point the video makes is, these aren't just random performances. They're meant to sharpen your focus, build self-control, and help you tune into what Crowley saw as these cosmic energies or currents. It's about doing it, not just reading about it.
So the LBRP is like purification, setting boundaries.
Yeah, creating that protected space for your inner work, kind of like setting an intention before you meditate, maybe.
Okay. And the ceremonial magic part.
Within Thelema, the video says that's about getting direct personal experience, making a real connection to stuff beyond normal perception.
Making the unseen feel real.
Yeah, tangible. And study's huge, too. The video mentions you got to dig into the Book of the Law, sure, but also Crowley's other writings.
It's a whole system.
It is, connecting Egyptian gods, Kabbalah, that Jewish mystical system.
Right, Kabbalah.
With his own takes on magic. It's kind of eclectic.
Mixing different traditions, meditation, breathing.
All sorts of things. Meditation, breath work, postures, but all pointing back to that main goal, finding your true will.
And the video makes that key point again. If your mind is just buzzing with chatter all the time,
right,
and you're wrapped up in all that conditioning, how are you ever going to hear that inner call?
Exactly. Which leads us to the legacy.
Yeah.
Which is complicated.
Yeah, the Book of the Law and Crowley himself are super divisive, like the video says.
Totally.
Yeah.
You've got groups like the Ordo Templi Orientis, the OTO.
Yep.
For them, it's like a foundational text, sacred even.
Yeah.
They've built whole initiation systems around its ideas, trying to make it practical.
But then you've got the critics.
Oh, yeah. People who just see it as, ravings from a guy trying to shock everyone.
Provoke society.
Right. Even academics argue about him constantly. Was he a genius exploring consciousness or just a massive ego?
But the video makes a good point, the fact that we're still talking about it, that it still gets such strong reactions. That says something about its power. You can't just easily ignore it.
No, it forces you to confront things, your own beliefs, society's rules.
Yeah.
And inside all that, there's that other key phrase, love is the law. Love under will.
Right. The video clarifies that one too. It's not just any love.
Yeah.
It's about expressing your true will, but doing it with respect for everyone else's true will.
Yeah, it's about synergy, mutual respect.
Yeah.
Not just being selfish.
That's a really important clarification, isn't it?
Vital. It puts the whole do what thou wilt thing in a different light. It's not anarchy.
It suggests your true path shouldn't, trample on someone else's.
Ideally, yeah. It should ultimately fit into a bigger harmony, or at least not actively block others. And the love here isn't just romance.
Yeah.
It's more like a fundamental connection, understanding between people who are all trying to follow their own true will.
Right.
Respecting their right to find their path, even if it's different from yours.
The video connects this idea to modern things, too, like authenticity, self-care.
It does, yeah. But it also warns this is way tougher than just, typical self-help stuff.
Needs deeper work.
Much real self-awareness, facing uncomfortable truths about yourself. It's not just about feeling good. It's fundamental self-discovery, really getting to your core.
So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, this is interesting, but how would I even start? What does the video suggest? Any baby steps?
It mentions starting small, maybe simple rituals, setting aside time for real reflection, trying to tune into that true will.
Just starting the process of looking inward.
Exactly. And acknowledging it might be hard, maybe uncomfortable, but potentially really rewarding. So maybe a first step beyond just reading is like dedicated journaling or a specific quiet time just to ask yourself those questions.
That makes sense. Peeling back those layers of conditioning, like the video says, that sounds like it could be pretty intense.
It can be. You have to be willing to question things you've always believed.
And the video kind of loops back to Crowley's idea about the Aeon of Horus, that it would turn humanity into active creators. And the video sees hints of that now. People questioning things, looking for their own paths.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense of empowerment there.
Right.
Moving from just accepting things to actively trying to shape your own life.
A shift towards individual power, questioning authority.
Exactly.
It's still a bit of a paradox, though, right? Crowley's own life was so out there.
Flamboyant, yeah.
Controversial.
Did that kind of overshadow the actual message for a lot of people?
I think that's fair to say. His behavior definitely gave critics plenty of ammunition.
Yeah.
And maybe it did hide the deeper philosophy for some.
But the video wraps up saying, whether you think he was a guide or dangerous or something else.
Right.
It's hard to argue that he didn't plant some pretty major seeds in how we think about spirituality and ourselves. Seeds that are still growing today.
His ideas, love him or hate him, have influenced so many counterculture things, and they still spark debate about, the big stuff.
Yeah.
Self, will, the universe. So for everyone listening, maybe the question to leave you with, kind of echoing that YouTube video, is, are you ready?
Ready to question the story you've been told about who you are and how the world works.
Are you willing to really look inside, try to hear that quiet command that's only yours?
Because if the Book of the Law boils down to one really radical thing, it's probably that. The ultimate authority for your life.
Yeah.
It's inside you.
Not some external rule book or institution.
Exactly.
So maybe explore that true will, approach things with love under will, see what happens.
It's really an invitation, isn't it? To go on that journey of self-discovery, to see if a more authentic life is possible.
Well, thanks for diving into the pretty intense world of Aleister Crowley with us today.